Welcome back to Drummer 101 Artist Interviews. Good to see you guys. Hope you guys all had a Merry Christmas. If you don't celebrate Christmas, hope you had fun doing whatever you were doing. Today we are sitting here with Austen Butler, who's actually a long time friend of mine.
Absolutely.
We've known each other since middle school.
Middle school, yeah.
Yeah, so that was a while ago.
Feels like 10 years ago, actually.
Yeah, I'm waiting until we've almost been out of high school as long as we were in high school, and that makes me feel old. I'm not old, but
I don't like to think about that.
Yeah,
it's scary.
Anyways, yeah. So I remember, just to start off with it, I remember you were in a band called Carstreet's Veil, and that was like, when did that start? How long ago was that?
That was about actually at the end of 9th grade.
Exactly, yeah.
9th grade summer, I'd say, going into 10th grade.
Yeah.
My buddy Will from math class called me and basically just said, hey, let's start a band.
Yeah,
We were like, let's do it. So we all joined forces in my game room and we just started jamming on things and didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah, and people think it's this is what we're here for, to teach you guys, what to do and like how to kind of break into the music industry. Sometimes it's as easy as just finding friends who like have the similar interests, and it just becomes fun. And then eventually you're like,
when there's no pressure, it's just like
exactly.
It's just 5 guys trying to play music, and then eventually somehow becomes something that where people actually come and watch you play.
Dude, I remember MySpace. That was like, you guys were like blowing up on MySpace.
Oh yeah, it was all cool. It's all about MySpace friends then, It was just like, how many MySpace friends can you possibly get? And or not friends in your top 8. Like your top 8 would be your favorite bands.
Yeah, you're like your favorite friends and stuff.
Yeah. It'd just be your influential bands. Like we had like Day to Remember was probably 1, and then 2 would be, whatever band we were into at the time, Suicide Silence or whatever it'd be.
Yeah.
So we would never have any we actually did a contest where it's like our top 8 fans would make our friends top 8, and like people lost it. They were like, "Oh, we're their number 1 friend on MySpace," and we just thought, it was fun. Like it was there was no pressure with that band. We just played what we wanted to play, like did what we wanted to do, and then,
you guys were really good too.
Thanks, man. Yeah,
that was kind of during like the screamo / like metal-ish.
Yeah,
thing.
and like
people were doing that.
Yeah,
you guys were like the first band in the area to like do that.
Yeah, I feel
and then
like
it became really popular.
I feel like a lot of bands were starting to spawn off of us after we, not like copying us or anything, but like we made the band, and I think it actually inspired a lot of kids to be like, oh, you can just make a band with your friends, and you can play shows and
record game room videos.
That's exactly what we did. Did you remember that?
Yeah, because actually, and speaking of that, I was in a band called Witness the Fall. And that was kind of like, I saw you guys, and I'm like, oh, we could do that. And I had a friend who was also a guitarist, and we just kind of found more people to. But we did a game room video, and I remember a game room like music video. We're just like chilling there in our house, just like pissing off our parents, pissing off our neighbors.
Well, my mom actually recorded ours. we forced her to record it, so she's just sitting there like, okay, like let's get this over with as soon as possible. But
earplugs in. And stuff.
Exactly, and like you really respect the parents for just letting you beat the crap out of your drums, you know, and just shred on the guitar for hours on end. And it's like, how do they deal with it? Well, obviously we thought it was perfect.
And I actually remember Taste of Chaos 2008, and it was Atreyu, Bullet for My Valentine, and Avenged Sevenfold. And my dad took me to that.
Oh wow!
I was like sitting there. He's like. I always remember he said, he's like, I like the guitarist and the music and stuff, but like the guy starts screaming, and I'm like, that's the best part.
Yeah, my dad was always just like, the drums, man, the drums sound great. He's like, I'm not listening to anything else, so I can't understand it. But yeah, it was fun. Carstreet's was a huge stepping stone for me, because it really did start as like not knowing what I was doing. Like I got on the kit, just started hitting things basically, and then all of a sudden it started getting to the point where I was like, I'm actually getting decent at this, and everyone started to really get good at their craft, and it was cool. We actually accomplished a lot.
You guys were together for a while.
Yeah, it was 2.5, 3 years, and we stuck it out, and unfortunately the band broke up, but it was just everyone going separate ways. Like financially, it was taking a toll on us, because it's not. If you're taking the band seriously, it's not cheap. It's not, free. Yeah. Obviously, if you're just playing garages, you can do whatever you want. It is free. But, actually, you got to keep up. Your drums cost money, sticks, strings. Yeah. But then you start playing shows, you start traveling, gas, tour van, of course, all that stuff. So it's like, eventually just we ran out of gas. But I would say it was a great experience. I think everyone could vouch for that in that band. So that was definitely cool for us.
And actually, a segue into like the next thing I'm gonna bring up.
Yeah, definitely.
you guys have all heard of Warped Tour, and you know I was like that kid. I mean, I went like 2 years. It was like when I was 15 and I was like 17 or 18. But I remember the reason that I went the second time was because of this guy right here, because he posted on, and I'm just remembering this story. You posted, it was either MySpace or Facebook.
Facebook might have been in. Car Streets actually rarely, for a small period of time, had a Facebook. So.
Yeah, and you guys, I remember you guys posted on, and I wasn't going to go because I was like, it's kind of expensive. It was like $70 a ticket, and I was like, I don't know if I really want to do that. But then the day before, or it might have been 2 days before, like the Warped Tour that was in our area, you posted on Facebook, like, I don't know, share our band or talk about our band somewhere, and you enter to like win this contest for tickets.
Battle of the Bands.
And I got that. Like I was like I'm so on this, and like within like, I mean, it was like an hour of like doing whatever I was supposed to do.
The voting, I think it was voting.
Yeah. And I got a call from you, and you're like, dude, we got a ticket. I'm gonna come bring it by. And I was like, so the segue to that is this guy actually played on Warped Tour before, which is really cool.
We got you the ticket, huh?
Yeah,
I drove by your house. Yeah.
I went to Warped Tour because of this guy.
Wow,
right
that's
here.
a small world. Yeah, I remember that. That's awesome. Yeah, that was a Sleep Train Amphitheater in Marysville. Yeah. So this band that we had that, you know, literally, you know, we never thought we'd be playing any shows at all. You know, Boardwalk and Club Retro were a huge deal. And then, you know, a year and a half, 2 years go by, and our awesome fans literally voted us, you included, voted us into this Warped Tour. And we were just, I remember being down in LA visiting family, and we went to some Mexican restaurant, and we just kept checking the Battle of the Band site, like, did we make it? Because we were waiting for the day. And, you know, 3 p.m., 4 p.m. rolls around, and it's like, it listed the 5 bands, and we're looking, and it's like, our band's there, and we're like, what? And, like, a lot of bands were in that area. It was like a couple thousand bands, and they picked the top 5, and, you know, John Feldman was one of the judges. You know, he was a producer of a lot of bands we loved, The Used, you know, multiple bands, Panic at the Disco he worked with, and it's just like, we're like, wow, like, you know, maybe we're onto something. So, yeah, we did play the Sleep Train Amphitheater.
Which is crazy. That was like, you know, myself included, trying to be a working musician, trying to break into like that popular scene or whatever. That was like, I was like, dang, like these guys are playing on Warped Tour. You know, I was here 2 years ago, and I was like seeing all these famous bands, and now they're like, these guys are gonna blow up. You know?
Oh yeah, for me, I was just like, this is insane. Like, not only am I, the funny thing for me, it's like, I was obviously excited to play the show, but like in my head, I'm like, dude, I get to see all these bands for free. Like, I hadn't been to Warped Tour. Like, that was my first Warped Tour to go see the band. So I remember playing the show, loving it. We had a really big crowd, surprisingly. Like, we were like, wow, because people just filter through, and like they'll hear like a breakdown they like, and these kids are awesome. Like, they stop and watch the rest of your set. So like, you know, I'd say a couple thousand people filtered through from our, you know, 6 to 7 song set, you know, from start to finish, and at least heard a couple songs, you know, and like that was huge for us, because our Facebook and our MySpace and all the Twitter like blew up, like, you know, a lot. You could tell that, you know, it was big for us. But my biggest thing was like, how fast can I get off stage and go watch my favorite bands, you know? So I was really excited. It was something I never thought we would do, and we accomplished that. So that was cool.
So bringing it into the present right now, and the present being, I don't know, like a year ago, you started. This new band came about. They were known as Headlines. Now they're Cemetery Sun. You guys,
Cemetery Sun recently.
How did that whole thing start? How did that band come together? Because you guys have been. How long have you guys been together?
So that's been about like 2 years now.
2 years,
on and off. Yeah, because like
they're doing. You guys are doing great.
Thanks,
you guys
man. Yeah, we are. It's funny thinking about that, because that going back to that Warped Tour where Cartridge played. This other band called 10 After 2 played, and I don't know if you guys are familiar. They were on Rise Records. They had 2 members in that band called named Josh Doty and Danny Clark. And Danny Clark was actually in Witness the Fall with you guys. It's all just like a huge collective here, you know, in the music scene, but it all ties in together. But we were rivals, and we weren't
friendly rivals.
Friendly rivals, but like the fans knew that like, oh, like, we're gonna hardcore dance harder for Car Streets to show, you know, show 10 After 2's fans what's up, you know, and like, it's just, we'd always battle over ticket sales because we'd have a lot of the same fans. So, you know, I'd be driving around my car trying to beat Danny to the next house, you know, to sell the tickets. So me and Josh Doty we were rivals, and I just never thought I'd be in a band with him, and I think he had a pretty bad touring experience, and nothing against the band. It's just, something happened where he was like, I don't know if this is the band I'm going to be in, and I had already quit Carstreets Vale due to financial problems, and I was just going to focus on, being a solo drummer and doing my own thing, going to school and all that stuff. And Josh gave me a call and told me that he met someone in Orlando when they recorded their album that does like music, like writes for Atlantic Records, because they tracked their drums at a different studio. Yeah. And he met this guy named Brock and Evan, and they were like, man, you are a good singer. Like, you need to, because he sang clean vocals in the band. And they're like, maybe you should, test your luck at like alternative pop music. So I think that kind of got wheels spinning in his head, and, he started thinking about drummers and obviously who do you want on the kit. And he gave me a call one day, and I was like, I had his number for some reason, I can't remember why, and I answered it, and he was just like, hey man, like, you want to start a side project? It started as a side project where me, him, and Danny were just jamming in his house, and he was still going to push 10 After 2. But then we got together, and these songs like we were writing just had this energy that like I don't think we were feeling with the other bands that we were in, and it was just like, obviously we felt energy with the other bands, they were great, but it was just this new, exciting, it was even new for us. We were like, wow, we've never played this like clean, alternative, not like heavy metal music. So yeah, it was just new for us that we were, doing this new sound, and it was exciting, and we eventually hired on Jordan Hoover, a friend of ours, and it just started to take a lot of momentum, and we went out to Orlando, and we recorded with these guys, and we had these 2 songs, Starting Over and Everything About Us, which
is a great song.
Thank you. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, it was
Everything About Us. It was super catchy.
Yeah,
I was like,
people freaked. Like I remember having like 4,000 Facebook likes before we even posted, because we had the momentum from 10 After 2, and we had the momentum from Carstreets Vale, the old bands that we were in. Yeah, and people were just anxious to see what we were going to do, and we released the music, and they were like, whoa. Obviously, some fans were like, didn't like that it was heavy, but everyone was like, wow. I think everyone was, impressed. That it
was really good, and I think the thing that was appealing about it was, you like you said, you were coming from 10 After 2 and Carstreets Vale, both of which were kind of the metal of the day, that type of like,
in the scene, those metal bands that were drawn to shows.
So it was totally like, if you brought like Suicide Silence and As Lay Dying, and then they put out like a more, I don't know, another band explain, but and then they come together, they put out like a very, very like alternative thing, but it was cool, and I mean that in a good way,
Yeah, it's like if you do,
wow, these guys are good, because there's some bands that they're like, okay, I can do screamo, I can do metal, and that's it, but like these guys are like, well, check out what else we could do.
And we really want to show the fans that we weren't just, banging on our instruments. Like, we wanted to show them that we could actually write songs, and, we got, some management looking at us, and like we were like, wow, we're really onto something. Yeah. So, we stuck it out, and we kept writing music, and we ended up having 5 really solid songs. We played some big shows. I remember we ended up playing Warped Tour as well in San Francisco at AT&T Park. That was one of my favorite shows of all time.
That's awesome.
We played Sac State. That was huge. Yeah. So like we played some really big gigs, and we got a pretty big following. And then we just kind of fell off because Danny moved back to England, it just wasn't the same. Like we weren't really, we're a very tight unit, so it was weird to not be playing music with him. And luckily, he wasn't really fond of it back there anymore, and he came back. So we made some calls, had 2 new guitarists come in, Jesse and Elliot from, they were in a Lover's Plea, and some other bands that were big in the scene that we used to play with. So it's all just destiny how we ended up being where we're at with this 5, the new lineup, me, Josh, Danny, Jesse, and Elliot. And we were basically reborn, and we have 3 brand new songs that we're sitting on waiting to show the public, and it's gonna be awesome, man. We're excited.
Awesome. Thank you guys again for watching Drummer 101 Artist Interviews. Thank you to Austen Butler. I really appreciate it.
No problem, sir. Thanks for having me.
Check us out on Facebook.com/D101 Artist Interviews. We're also on Twitter, which is at D101_AI. And check. They're called Cemetery Sun.
Cemetery Sun. New name.
You guys have a single you guys are releasing
January 1st. Brand new single. Start of the new year. We have a brand new song we're going to be showing you guys, so definitely be checking it out. On the lookout for that.
Awesome. And we're gonna we'll play a little clip after the show that way you can hear what Austen Butler sounds like. Kind of get a vibe of the band. Hopefully you guys like it. If you guys like it, go find them on Facebook. Go find them anywhere, and keep an eye out for their new single.
Definitely.
Thanks for watching, you guys.
Thank you, guys.
said. No second guessing, no second chances. Did everything I could to pretend. I dressed to impress with all I had, and the story seemed like more of a set. Recite your lines, kid, they're all you got left. If I'm the butterfly or the net, release me slowly, I need to find a way. I need to find a way. Everything about us is dead. Well, no thanks to you. Everything about us is dead. Well, no thanks to you. Oh, turns out what we call love does not exist. No thanks to you. To be honest, things could be much worse. A road I promised, thank God I noticed.